Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another video slash podcast episode on this YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. And we're going to get straight into it. I have a lot of new subscribers from my past story times and even watching my last podcast episode, which I really appreciate. And I feel like I truly want to keep the theme of the stuff I've learned from the stuff I'm spilling going. So something that I feel like I'm really learning and falling into more and more the older I get is that I feel like the best thing you can do is be the unattractive woman. Yes, and don't take that literally. Don't take that literally, girl. You cute. You're cute. I'm cute. We cute. Be unattractive in the ways of like the stuff we're told is unattractive about women. Don't act like this. Don't wear this. Don't have interest in this, and all these things. And we're taught to like be scared, and that makes you no guys are into that. No guys, especially high school. Woo! Y'all know, like in high school, I barely even dated, but in high school is like when the men really start to dip their toes into listening to the misogynistic that we heard growing up. And I feel like that's when I started to feel self-conscious about it. Because if you're not new here, I grew up in a female-dominated house. My mom called the shots. Two-parent household, by the way. And then it's me, my sister, and my brother. So it's 3 girls to 2 men. And what? So I feel like I was never told like these weird things. My family really let me be myself. But when you step out into the world, and I also talk about how I have a dad. My dad isn't any of the isms, phobias. He's never told me to change. What are you doing? Blah, blah. Never that. So I'm not new to talking about this topic. There's tons of things that I feel like I've covered before about what makes women unattractive. To me, one that I already failed in the attractive contest is having a big mouth. Like I said, my parents literally let me be myself. You see, when you grow up and you start being in relationships and you start like, oh, social settings, it's like, I just seen someone quote this the other day where they're like, to all the people, especially minorities, especially women, in times like this, use your voice, be a big mouth, because you have the rights that you have because someone else decided to be loud and decided to have the wrong opinion or the weird opinion or the off-putting opinion. Okay? Especially me with my intersectionality as a woman and as a Black woman at that, and as a descendant from chattel slavery. You know? So again, growing up the way I did, I remember one of the first times I seen this thing just about talking about basic things. Like I remember I was on a trip for basketball and we were in the hotel, and like my coach, who was a guy, I remember like saw me and my teammates leaving our hotel room, and he's like, "Where are you guys going?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just going down to the thing to buy some pads." All my teammates were like, "Oh, why would you yell that down the hallway? Girl, like, why would you say that out loud? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, girl, you're not supposed to be saying stuff like that." Okay. Okay, my fault for having a menstrual period and going about like I didn't grow up to be ashamed of stuff like that. Like I said, even though I didn't date in high school, when I got into my adult post grad years and I started being in a relationship, it's like the stuff you hear on the outside, sometimes from the inside. You know, women and mothers can harbor a little bit of misogyny in them themselves. You know, be agreeable, don't have a big mouth, don't do things like this, don't talk openly about your body and your sexuality and your trauma and all these things. Basically be like the agreeable woman. It's something I feel like I was never really taught in the home. Like I had a really good example of parents. My mom doing her big one, degrees, nurse, husband that supports her. Again, I never heard my dad tell my mom what to do or anything like that either. But again, learning these things from the outside, and then also dating men who obviously, like I said, in high school is when it starts to get to them, like, oh, I could indulge into this and push it on my peers. I feel like every girl would be lying if they said they didn't try to be the agreeable woman at one point. Okay, no matter how many story times I tell on here or how many podcast episodes I talk about building you guys up and what I've learned, it's also key what I've learned. Every single relationship I look back and I'm like, right? Like, I feel like I've always had boundaries and been opinionated and stuff, but we still sometimes succumb to being agreeable or letting things slide in relationships because we love the person and also we think that's what we're supposed to do. And also, like I said, we be dating misogynistic men who have it in their head where they gaslight us into thinking that's what it's supposed to be too. And when I'm talking about these things, this is in no way to blame my past self or to blame women who are in these situations and a little, impressionable like I was. This is just me saying the truth. Like, I was in an abusive relationship at one point in my life. That is the main one where when I talk about it out loud post relationship and even like some stuff on my channel, it's like, girl, how, what, where, when, like, you know what I'm saying? Because especially in situations like that, which I feel like is, if you've ever been in an abusive relationship, I think a lot of other people can attest that that is one of the most like transformational periods post growing and saying stuff out loud and seeing how crazy everything really is, about myself to this day and how I am the way I am. Like, I remember being in an abusive relationship and being so patient and just wanting to be like, oh, so like agreeable and just like make it work because I love this person. Also, this person is misogynistic as hell, because what abuser isn't, right? That I let this man convince me that I had to do things actually that I didn't want to. Like, before this relationship, I didn't have a lot of knowledge about how a lot of SA and sexual violence goes on in relationships. You know, a lot of times, like when we think of that when we're taught, it's like, oh, crazy random person comes on to you. No, like I wasn't really aware of that. And also that person would gaslight me about being my partner too. So I'll be like, oh, yeah, I would let that person gaslight me about expressing or trying to set boundaries, whether that was actually or about anything else. That like, no, this is right. Like literally my abuser used the language of like when I did set a boundary or was like, no, I really don't want to do this. I'm really uncomfortable with this. Calling me unattractive, saying, oh, you don't care. You don't love me, saying he doesn't love me. Like literally used the language like that. Again, I wasn't aware of, but this is typical abuser language and misogynistic language of isolating women and turning them into the agreeable woman. Also tactics of isolation, because even in saying things like that, being like, yeah, no one would find this attractive or be okay with this. Literally no one. Ask anybody, blah, blah, blah. Literally that. If you ask anybody, if you ask, no one's gonna agree with you. No one this, no one thinks it's weird. That's just you. Like literally the isolation. But unfortunately for young, impressionable 19, 20-year-old me and other people, especially for women, but man, women, non-binary, because like I literally have a video about how misogyny lives in all of us, whether we are the perpetrator or the one giving the perpetrators slack, you know? It really works. Like, I feel like that relationship was the most agreeable. Like, I just wanted so badly to, I wanted to be with that person. And I've said this before that I'm really built for this YouTube because I'm a girl, again, because of how I grew up and my parents letting me be who I am and like always uplifting me and stuff. I've never really been someone who's cared about like others' opinions. You know how people are like, I don't want to post that. I don't know how people will take it. I don't know. Like, I've never cared, but like I think I talked about in my confidence video. Obviously, like, people think you shouldn't care what anyone thinks, and to an extent that's true when it comes to what you want to do and your choices. But let's be real. It's okay to care about some opinions of people that you love. Not psychotic, abusive bitches like my ex. But how, like I said, going through family trauma, I used to really care and want my mom's approval. I used to care what my abuser and what my boyfriend thought. Like, it's okay to, it's and normal to care about people you actually know and actually care about and want them to, you know, like, love and respect you. Like, sometimes I'm really tired, especially how that narrative gets pushed on to women. Like, oh, she really blah, blah, blah. So are we all just not supposed to want love and care from people who are supposed to love and care about us? Like, shut up. Like, for real. I think that after you're with a psychotic like that, obviously I spoke a lot on my channel about recovery. It took me, I felt insane for like, I left my abuse. I'm almost 3 years free. I left my abuser in May 2023. And I felt insane for like all of 2023, all of 2024. 2025 is when I finally started to feel like happy again and like calm again. And I still have my moments. But yeah, the recovery process was super hard of like conforming to someone, and especially conforming to a cycle and what they think you should do and act and all these things. Because like I said, as much as like on a grand scale, systemic scale, these things can affect women, it's even more harsh and ingrained into us, like I said, when we're with and around people like that. Like I said, these things were new to me, but just because it's new to me, well, on a personal level, like I said, doesn't make me any better than the other girl, that someone who grew up with a good family who had positive reinforcement, that I can't fall into it because, like I said, it's ingrained into the society. But even though you guys heard my crazy ass story times about the last guy I dealt with for a couple months, the key word and what I always say about myself is like a couple months. Like, I'm so proud of the growth of like what I used to put up with at 19. Both of my relationships and like my start of my 20s were both a year overdue. With the last person, this was 4 months, and I cut it. Cause what are we doing? Like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm not better than any other girl. Sometimes stuff still whoops over our mind when we just like this person and want to care about them. But the thing I've realized from dealing with bullshit relationships and boys and people, and like I said about how misogyny affects, and seeing in these situations how other women co-sign people like this, and so I'm like, the older I get and the more confident I really get about myself, I don't care, like I said, to be attractive. Like I said, I've never really cared for like the whole male gaze, but even the bitch I'm dating or who wants me or who I have a crush on, like the icks I get at this age are so different from back then, because I don't care. Like, although, like I said, I'm not perfect, some things may still slip through my head. I'm still a young girl. Like, there's just certain things that I'm like, I know off the bat, I stalk those reposts, baby. I see who you follow. I'm not about to deal with a man who is homophobic. I'm not about to deal with a man who wants me to be a part of his religion or a woman of God. No, as an atheist, agnostic person. Like, there's so many systems that come from misogyny that are man-made that that I will never conform to for anybody. And I think I feel really reflective because as of today, yesterday was Valentine's Day. And I remember, like, in between relationships, since I've graduated high school, on Valentine's Day, I would feel so sad. Like, I remember almost every Valentine's Day where I was single, like, sobbing and just self-deprecating and like, why can't I, like, all my Valentine's Day sucked, and that's still true to this day, and all these things. And again, I'm not better than any other woman because of how much I've grown. If you felt like that yesterday, that's fine. Like, those are normal feelings to feel sad or want our relationships or anything. But I was like, I feel like yesterday was one of the best Valentine's Days I've ever had as a single person. Just me and, well, regardless, just me and my fur babies. Like, it was literally just a regular day for me. Like, I filmed content, I washed up, I bought myself some snacks, I chilled with my dog and my cat. But I was like, this is so calm. Because I sometimes, like I said, even though I feel like I'm out of the heavy recovery period of being through sexual abuse, like, it's even something still hit and trigger me, or like I'm still remembering things 3 years later, because that's just kind of how the mind works with trauma. But I was like, I literally remember, what was this, 4 years ago? No, 3 years ago now. I have a story time on that Valentine's Day too, guys. Just click on my oldest tab. You'll see it's probably like my 5th video. I told the story like 2 years ago. I had a horrible Valentine's Day with my abuser, because why would I have a good one, right? For context, like, part of my relationship with my abuser was long distance because he went to school in a different state. And so I would visit him. And on that Valentine's Day, I was visiting him. And when I visited him was one of the first times he ever actually assaulted me. And I don't necessarily remember anything being not consensual that weekend. When I visited him. But I just remember, like, at the end of the day, it being hectic, us arguing, and him, like, cuddling up and starting to feel on me. And me being like, girls, like, guys, if you're a real one, you get what I mean. Like, sometimes when it's been a shitty-ass day. And like I said, also, I'm in an abusive relationship. Like, my nervous system is always dysregulated. This man is taking a piece when I'm not offering it. Like, why would I always be happy and want to do stuff with you? And I was like, I honestly, this day was just a lot. Because like I said, regardless of if you have the trauma I have, when the vibes aren't right, sometimes you don't want to give a piece. And that's how I felt that night. And I was like, oh, like, it was just a lot today. Like, can we just cuddle? I'm not sure to do that. This man was literally like, oh my God, boom, like, off me, and like laid across somewhere else. I was like, I didn't say not to like cuddle. Like, I just want to like cuddle and go to sleep, but I just don't want to do that. And he was like, no, if you don't want to, then I'm not trying to cuddle you. This is not funny, but this is what I'm saying. Like, well, I was 20 years old back then. I'm like, this is the type of I was taking because I want to make it work with a rude like that. But no, I literally remember, whatever. I'm exhausted from the day, so I'm like, whatever. But not really. Like, I remember I just like pulled the covers on my head. I literally had tears in my eyes because it's Valentine's Day and you just asked your man to cuddle you, and he basically said no. And I went to sleep. I went to sleep sad as hell with tears in my eyes, being like, damn, like, I just need some physical affection after a tough day. And my man said no, because I don't want to. Okay. And so I think about little Alicia like that. I want to give her a hug, and I want to punch my ex in the face. And I think about the ghetto ass Valentine's Day I had last year that a lot of you guys probably came from. And I'm just like, why would I be sad that I can be with myself in my own energy that I'm not going to ruin, rather than dealing with bitches like that? Like, that's like, I even remember, like, on the Valentine's Day when I was with my abuser, like, I looked real cute. I was getting so many compliments, hearts on our pictures and stuff. And I was like, I was not happy. I was not happy. I was with a man sexually abusing me, emotionally abusing me, arguing all day because his crazy accused me of cheating on Valentine's Day. If you guys want that context, y'all just gonna have to watch the video. But seriously, I'm like, I'm 23 years old. I was going to say by myself, but not really, because that's another thing I noticed since being in relationships. I'm like, I have the best company in platonic relationships I've ever had. Like, when I was in relationships, well, when I was in my first real one, I had a couple friends, but they both turned out to be fake bitches. And then when I was in my abusive relationship, I honestly didn't see my friends that much because I was really isolated. And I was like, the closeness And like the closeness and people I can be real with, especially being real with my friends about my abuse and stuff, like the people I can call on that I didn't, ooh, that I didn't like feel like I could when I was so isolated. Like I'm by myself romantically, but the community I have around me, I have a job, I have consistent money, I'm doing what I like, and I'm, like I said, this is only the second year like in adulthood where I felt like really regulated and calm and like okay. I'm like, what is there to be sad about that? Like rather than having, oh, I have a Valentine and he's shh. Like, you know, and again, I'm not shading or telling anyone who did feel sad or did feel like they missed out yesterday that they shouldn't, because you should feel however you want to feel. Because like I said, I definitely felt like that when I was younger. But yeah, I'm just like, this is so much fun being an opinionated who doesn't go for, and I'm single, but literally, like I said, I have idols. When girls make the joke that women who hate men end up with the best men, they're not fucking lying. They're not lying. Like I trust me, I know. Even if I don't got a man yet, I like, this is what I mean about the terms of like being the agreeable woman and then being the unattractive woman. Because being agreeable, I feel like put me with partners that are so shitty and that didn't align with me and that made me miserable. But me being the unattractive woman, being the unattractive bitch, from the jump, I'm so real with men. Like if I hear anything homophobic, I'm blocking you. I'm not a part of your religion. I'm not religious. I'm not gonna be part of your religion. No, I don't think women have to do. Yes, these are my boundaries. I don't care if you think they're strict or if you think, like I'm so opinionated and real about my like being real about your boundaries, your communication styles, your love languages, what you expect, shit, you like rolling out everything, how I expect you to be on social media. This is what gets me about some men and women fighting about internet stuff when they're like, the internet isn't even real life. It's not that serious. She tripping over. Don't embarrass me in public or private. But a lot of people say heavy on public. The internet is public. The internet is public. Other people can see who you follow. Other people can see who you like. But not in private either. Because like I said, you're not going to be my man. You're not going to be my man with that following on private. Better open the fuck up, nigga. Better open up. But seriously, like I said, I know we can all have our moments. But I just feel like the older we get, girl, you better snap out of it faster. Or recognize it faster, because we getting too grown. Like there's stuff we should know and just not go for. And I'm also not saying I know everything and everyone should be like me, because newsflash, I'm not. Like I'm just on the internet. Like what you want for your relationship or what you would go for is your choice, honey, or boy or girl. Like there's different relationship styles. There's people who are polyamorous or, things. There's different things that work for different people. I just know what works for me. But yeah, being real attracts real. And yeah, for everyone deserves to be loved and surrounded for who they actually are. This is why I even say in my social media journey, even though I'm like a small creator, how I'm like, yeah, a lot of people are like, wow, I love that you say stuff that I would like just repost and I wouldn't say because I feel that way, but I'm scared and stuff. This is what I'm saying. I'm like, baby, y'all ain't gonna cancel me. I've been saying everything since the beginning of this page that I feel, because I don't give a fuck. Like, if you don't like that I'm not religious, leave. If you don't like that I feel this way about this, leave. If you don't like, like real attracts real even in all different spaces. So I just think it's really important for everyone to hear that and be encouraged, because you deserve to be loved as your full real self with your full real opinions and your truth. But like I said, especially to my women who hear shit, misogynistic stuff from the day we're born. Speaking of misogynistic people, y'all, I got this man muted on YouTube. Like, his comments can't even come up, but I'm sure he's still gonna try to comment. There's this, I don't know if he came from like the story time that went up or anything. There's this guy, and I can tell this man is a guy because in the comments he be saying ma and stuff like that. No girl is gonna call me ma. This man leaves thorough comments of disagreeing with what I said. So this is so funny because it's like, so he's watching the whole video and he's leaving thorough comments of what he disagrees with. I remember one of them was like, you bringing up how old you are so much is misogynistic. Bitch, bringing up my age for context. Independence 27, get off it. Hop off it. Because your comments can't even come through, babe. I know more and more people are sure to come with the growth of my YouTube channel. But like I said, I'm built for this. You will be silenced. And what'd she say? You know you that when you cause all this conversation. Anyways, ladies, on some real, I hope that I said something positive, encouraging that you can take away from this video. Like I said, when I was in the trenches, when I didn't feel okay, videos and people who spoke life into me and like made me rewire my brain after being in abuse. That yeah, I actually can be, and I'm not crazy, and these opinions and things are not, like, really is what helped me heal. So I hope to have the same effect on other people. Getting all the comments on my last video too, guys, it's so weird to me. Like, I'm literally just sitting in my room, like my cat is in the chair. Like, when I get in-depth comments about my videos and stuff, I was like, I'm really just in my room talking to a camera. Hold up, y'all actually watch this shit? Like, it's actually crazy. Like, it's crazy when I start to think about it, and I'm not trying to think about it too much, that like I'm on some people's tablet or TV or phone right now. What you mean? What you mean? Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.